invite you to pause, to take this moment just for yourself. And perhaps as your eyes gently close or simply soften their gaze, you might begin to arrive here in this moment, in this body. You might notice the weight of your body where it is supported, your feet, your sits bones, your back, your shoulders, the places where you make contact with whatever is beneath you. And perhaps you might notice that the mind, your mind, is busy, that thoughts are moving or jumping, swirling around, arriving one on top of the other. And that's perfectly okay. There is nothing you need to do, nothing you have to do with any of that right now. You might simply notice, curious, that your mind is doing what your mind does. And you might notice that you are here, underneath all of that movement, still here, still breathing. I invite you to imagine in your mind's eye that you are standing at the edge of a quiet mountain lake. It is very clear, early morning. It's the tender hour just before dawn. The sky is still soft. There's a deep, quiet blue, turning gently to silver where it meets the mountains on the far side of the water. You might notice the stillness, a kind of stillness that feels peaceful, serene, whole, and complete. You might notice the cool air on your cheeks, fresh, alive, carrying the faint scent of pine, of fir, of cold water, of damp earth. There might be a gentle breeze, barely noticeable, lifting a single strand of hair from your forehead. You might become aware of the ground beneath your feet, the texture of the ground beneath your feet. Perhaps smooth stones and soft moss, cool, steady, supporting you. And you might notice your breath. Perhaps you might notice that just by noticing your breath, you're noticing that your breath has already changed, already slowed, already deepened, without you having to do anything at all. As you stand at the edge of this lake, you might notice that a soft mist is resting on the water, resting ever so softly. A low, gentle mist, silver white in the half-light. It drifts, it moves, it rearranges itself as it changes. And perhaps, if you look with gentle curiosity, you might notice that this mist is a little bit like the scattered quality of the mind. Like your mind, as your mind often might do, drifting, shifting, many pieces at once. There is nothing you need to do anything about. There is no need to push it away. You might simply notice that it's there. Much like you might notice that the mist is there, drifting and moving. You might also notice that the mist is light, airy. It is simply there, doing what mist does. And as you stand here, you might begin to notice that the sky is changing, ever so slowly. The deep blue begins to soften. A hint of warmth is beginning to move along the edge of the mountains. You might notice the first pale gold touching the highest peaks, the colors beginning to change. There's a single point of light, and you might watch with gentle curiosity how that light begins to move, slowly, steadily, moving down, 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 touching the next ridge, then the next crag, and the next. You might notice the colors beginning to change even more, to get more vivid and deep. Soft peach, warm rose, gold. Perhaps you might notice that the mist on the water has begun, ever so gently, to lift. You might notice the mist beginning to thin in places, becoming translucent, more airy, like cotton candy, drifting upward in soft ribbons, little by little, little strand by little strand, easily, gently, simply lifting the way mist lifts as soon as sunlight begins to shine. You might notice the surface of the lake beginning to appear like glass, deep dark blue glass, perfectly still. And as more of it becomes visible, you might notice how clearly it holds the reflection of the mountains, the sky, the sunlight, new sunlight as it breaks over the top of the mountain. You might be curious about how much clarity has already been there underneath the mist, how the water was always still, always reflective. The mist was simply resting on top. And now, perhaps, you might notice the very first rays of the sun breaking over the ridge, warm gold spilling across the water. You might notice one particular place where the light catches, bright, dancing, a single point on the surface of the lake. You might find your attention drawn to that spot, that point of light, gently, without effort, effortlessly, the way attention naturally moves towards something warm and alive. You might notice the way the light gathers on that spot, focused, bright, alive. And you might notice too that the rest of the lake is still there. The wider view, the edges, the mountains. But there is this one bright place where the light is clear, concentrated, and focused. You might be curious about the quality of that focus. Soft, warm, easy, without effort, simply present. And you might notice as you stand there that somewhere in your body something is beginning to gather. Something in you is beginning to settle, and at the same time to wake. Perhaps you might notice a quiet alertness, warm, a subtle sense of moving forward. You might notice that your eyes behind your lids feel brighter. The back of your neck feels alive, that your chest is open. You might notice your breath once again. Perhaps slower, more gentle now. Perhaps steadier. You might notice that as the light has grown, something in you too has grown, becoming clearer, more present, more here, more gathered. And perhaps you might notice the birds beginning to stir. You might notice a single call somewhere in the trees, then another. You might notice the quiet activity of the morning beginning to unfold, little creatures scurrying around, more birds beginning to wake up. You might feel the gentle pull of curiosity, an interest, a wanting to look, a wanting to engage. You might notice that this feeling, this quiet, curious, alert, is a kind of focus, effortless focus that is easy, softer, warmer, a kind of focus that arrives on its own when the mist has lifted and the light has come. You might notice that this is a focus you can come back to, you can return to. It is already here, already present inside you. It was simply waiting beneath the mist all along. And as you stand at the edge of the lake, the morning light now full and warm, you might begin to notice your body again, slowly bringing your awareness back to your shoulders, your back, your sits bones, your feet on the ground, the steady, quiet alertness in your chest, your steady, clear, rhythmical breath. You might notice that you feel calm and alert, settled and awake, clear, curious, gently focused. You might notice how these qualities live together in you right now, side by side, the stillness of the lake, the warmth of the light, the quiet readiness of the morning. And you might notice that you can carry this with you throughout your day. This clear, warm, alert focus. It is yours. It is already there, present within. And now, gently taking your time, begin to bring your awareness back to the room around you, letting in one sensory input at a time. More light, more sound, beginning to perhaps wiggle your toes and your fingers, slowly and gently beginning to move, bringing awareness back even more, beginning to notice your inhale, the gentle rise and fall of your breath as it moves your chest, bringing in a little more energy, more alertness, taking your time to let the sounds of the room come back to you. The light, the feeling of whatever you have been sitting on. And whenever you're ready, taking your time, you can open your eyes, alert, calm, focused.